if it's true, which it seems like it could be, it's wild to think that some of those things were like from a legitimate human being that we've seen on TV for such a long time. But at the end of the day, he deserves whatever happens to him if it turns out that all this stuff is true.
I'm asking everybody I interview about this, since this is a general interview, the Vince McMahon stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's
Um,
horrendous, right? I mean,
it's
ideally,
horrendous.
if it's true, which it seems like it could be, it's wild to think that some of those things were like from a legitimate human being that we've seen on TV for such a long time. But at the end of the day, he deserves whatever happens to him if it turns out that all this stuff is true. It's sad because as somebody that, again, even starting like my own thing with, we'll get into that,
That's next.
working for someone like Tony Khan, who is like the nicest human being, and the most, politically correct and all of these things. It's just wild to think that like this was I didn't know him, but it was someone I looked up to, you know what I mean? In the sense of if you followed his story and all that stuff, you just you didn't know all that other stuff. Right. And I was never around for it. So it's a sad situation. And it is what it is.
Yeah. So, uh, put yourself in the place of the HR department, human resources.
Sure. Yeah.
Vince McMahon comes in. Well, I'd be willing to be the evil commissioner here in AEW. What do you do?
Yeah, I don't think so. He doesn't have a good track record, apparently. Like I said, unless he gets cleared and everything is gone, hey, that's one thing. But, unfortunately, I think, especially nowadays, and it should always have been like this, like when something like this happens, freeze, remove that person until everything gets settled, and then you can figure it out. I think that's the best way to handle it is, write them off the right way, for business purposes on TV, but then also, and then you just figure it out. Let the system handle it the right way, and then you take it from there.
All right, let's move on to what you were doing between AEW, leaving AEW, and before going back to AEW. And this is something I know you're passionate about. Many, many, many years ago, the American Dream Dusty Rhodes started his own gig called Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. And it was a great independent federation. Steve Corino was in it. There were so many people that loved that company. It was an indie that was thriving. And eventually, Dusty went back to WWE, working for NXT. What was the vision? Did the vision come from you, or did it come from Cody's sister Teal
So
to kick this up again?
yeah, so this is funny. Years ago when Glacier Ray Lloyd was my first business partner in the school, he would tell me all these stories about Turnbuckle, and he was the champion there, and he teamed with Dusty all the time, and just all these great stories. So this was something I had thought about in 2020. I had
Really?
logos for it and everything. This is like, and it was always, we really couldn't do anything because of AEW and just the situations we were in and so on and so forth. Now, fast forwarding to now, we have a building that can be an arena. And we transformed it and so on and so forth. We were able to do an event out of there, a Turnbuckle event. But no, this was always like an idea that I had because I just liked the idea of the story that was behind it. Was like Dusty left WCW and the power plant had closed down, and he was able to like help these guys and girls. Well, mostly the guys, right? I don't know how many girls were doing it back then, but I remember Daphne was there. So it was like
The talent.
the talent in general had
Yeah.
nothing to do, right? The school closed down. Like, what were these people going to do with their dreams of hopefully being the next American Dream? And he used his own money and his own popularity and his fame to draw people to help these younger guys and talent, do really well and continue their dreams. And I just thought that is such a cool story that probably has never been told. And I also wanted to start doing something from the school anyway for our students and our athletes because they don't have a show that we run. So it's like we do a showcase at the end of their camp, but then that's it. And then we never see them again or they go and whatever. So it was
So you're
like
talking about the Nightmare Factory.
from the Nightmare Factory. Yeah. So it was like, how do we, because there are some guys and girls that are there that, they don't leave. Like they're there because they live in Atlanta or whatever it is. So they need a show to perform on. It was like, well, I don't want to run Nightmare Factory Championship Wrestling because then you're telling people that it's a school, and I don't want to do that. And it was like, but Teal is the boss because Teal and Cody, they kind of run, I guess, the anything Dusty related and so on and so forth. So I spoke with Teal about it, and I think over the years they've realized like I'm not one that's ever going to use their father's image or fame or name or anything like that for my own well-being, right? Just so I could make money. Because I guess a lot of people have probably tried to do that from them. And I'm not like that. I just think that there is a cool story to bringing it back and showing the old footage and so on and so forth. We made a music video that I put on the Turnbuckle Twitter, and it has some of the younger guys and girls and then the older stuff. And it's just, it kind of tells this story, and we have an idea to put out a little short documentary on it. So this way people could kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to make it look as good as we possibly can and give our athletes somewhere to work. And then
where can people find out more about this? Like when the shows are running and where?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, just through our social media channels right now, we're just still in the process of, so we did one event and it was full on production. I mean, it was luckily we had a couple favors come in from a production company and so on and so forth. But I mean, it was a very high budget production that now we're in the process of buying all the equipment and building it and leaving it so it'll become our own arena that we can run events once a month and so on and so forth. And then we could either stream them or, we have some ideas. It's just a matter of what actually sticks. But it's, again, it's more about let's bring the Turnbuckle brand back with a little bit of a twist. Instead of traveling everywhere and running shows, I think we keep them in-house, right? Because again, it just gets crazy costly.
So where can people find out about this?
Turnbuckle, I believe the Twitter, I have to look it up exactly what
people can just go on Google and put Turnbuckle.
Yeah, I mean, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and so on and so forth. And like I said, we did film something the other day, February 8th, that we have fully edited and stuff, and I'm sure we will eventually put it out. We're just been using it for internal use right now to try to set up the next thing and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's great. QT, I want to thank you so very much. Where can people find you on social media?
Just Twitter, QT Marshall, and on Instagram as well. I think it's real QT.
Wait, you said Marshall.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. If I say Marshall, they're not going to know how to spell it. But yeah, I'm not really super active. Again, like I said, it's more of a kind of taking a backseat. I work for Coastal Championship Wrestling down in Florida. I'm the champion over there. And that's just a place that I really had a good time at. And they have a lot of young, great talent as well. And they run every week, right? So they just, and not to go sidetrack real quick, but they've been good to me and I've been good to them in the sense of I'm trying to help them out because they have a lot of unseen talent that are really good guys and girls. And so that's part of the whole Turnbuckle thing is trying to, over the years, I've met so many talents from coming to AEW as local talents that haven't gotten these chances. And maybe they did on Dark or Ring of Honor, but it's like 2 minutes out there. And maybe there's ways we could try to help everybody. So I know everybody says they're there to help everybody, and usually it's a lie. I think there is a way to do it, and still you help yourself at the end of the day, which I've always done. I've never once looked for it for me. I've just hoped that people would, want to give to me if I've done all this. And sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. But you'll never harm anybody by just trying to help as many people as you can.
Okay, thank you. And I have that one last question to ask you.
Yeah.
You're alone, right? So nobody else will hear this?
Yes, okay. No one will hear it.
Is wrestling fixed?
I didn't know it was broken.
Oh my God, that's the name of my book. You can still get it on
There
Amazon.
it is. I saw it in the background, and
You did,
I
yes,
have one.
yes. Along with, yes, and hopefully you enjoyed it
Yes.
too. Thank you so very much. And if you wouldn't mind pointing out to the camera so we can do my goodbye here, we'll see you at the matches.